All right, Heather, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Congratulations on your recent graduation from Stetson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can you tell me a little bit about what you went to school for?
So I went to school for public health. Have not figured out an exact so I would like to go to school one day and get my master's, but I haven't figured out where exactly I want to go with public health. I just know I want to help people. So a lot of public health, I'm sure you know, focuses on vulnerable populations. So whether it's geriatrics or homeless or just people with disadvantaged backgrounds, that was my focus. I just really wanted to help people.
Okay. And so then we were just talking about that right now there's been a little bit of a pause on those types of roles and some of those programs. And as a new grad, you're eager to get back to work and start to use some of the skills that you have learned. And so you are considering some other career options. I was telling you about another opportunity that I have that, with some potential areas for growth. And you said, that was something that you're interested in. So what I'd like to do now is talk a little bit about your skill set, like what type of skills that you have to be able to bring to a business or to a client. So when you were in school, tell me about some of your like support experience, like computer experience.
Okay, so while I was at Stetson, well, both at Daytona State College and Stetson University, I was an honor student. So as an honor student, you have the added element of a lot of additional projects. Just more is required of you, of course.
Hmm.
So I worked on a lot of different projects. Um, so most of mine were because I have a bachelor in science. A lot of mine was data based. So for instance, one of the projects I worked on, which I solely worked on, it was basically my honors capstone. Was I had gone to I wanted to determine more accurate um, prevalence estimates on food insecure individuals. So individuals using like the food pantries in the area and those with chronic health diseases such as like diabetes, prediabetes, hypertension. Um, so we can determine like whether or not the food pantry managers were meeting their needs or how they could better meet their needs. So what I had done is I had created um, a survey in both English and Spanish because we have a huge Spanish population here in Volusia County, and I went out to various food pantries throughout Volusia County and went and distributed these surveys myself and collected the data. So all that data, I was 332 responses. But anyways, I put all that into Excel. And
Hmm.
so I used a combination of Excel software as well as SPSS software to do data analyzing on my groups so we can better come up with those figures for my project. So I definitely used a lot of, again, Excel, SPSS, but as well as Microsoft in general. So I had to write a report, an extensive report on these. I also used a lot of PowerPoint. So I actually not only presented my findings to the school, but I also went to Second Harvest Food Bank and presented using PowerPoint. So are my those were the predominant like software applications I've been using while in school.
Okay. And then you said you were telling me a little bit about like starting school a little bit later. Before school, what type of work were you doing?
So it's before school directly. When I was before I moved to Central Florida, I was living in West Palm. I was an employee at JFK Medical Center. So that was specifically in the radiology department. I was a records clerk slash
Mhm.
receptionist. So it was a two-part job. Um, Part of the job was, again, as a receptionist, I would work in the outpatient kind of waiting area. So you would check in patients, make sure they're getting to, their procedures, whether they had just outpatient procedures or pre-op procedures they needed for clearance and surgery. So just you know, checking them in, making sure they're getting those spots, if they needed labs, if they needed, you know, to drink oral contrast for, you know, a CAT scan or something like that, just, you know, greeting them. But in the back is where I did the medical records or radiology records specifically.
Mhm.
So that was closed off from patients, of course. That was a very, very high paced job. So I would oversee, of course, all the requests from patients' family members regarding their radiology reports as well as imaging. I also oversaw requests from other healthcare facilities, doctors' offices, or hospitals requesting those images. I also oversaw all the subpoena requests. So I was constantly, answering phone calls, multitasking. You know, you could be trying to pull up records for, you know, 40 people who just want their records on top of 40, you know, different facilities that need them, while also you have physicians, radiologists walking into the office like, I need this stat, I need this stat.
Yeah.
I also would have to run to the radiologist reading room, and if I seen any like elevated laboratory reports or something, I would have to run it by them. So I definitely, again, very high call volumes, very fast pace. You just had to be able to multitask to function in that facility.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Heather, I'm going to go ahead and stop this part of the interview, but don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Okay. Hmm.